silly.
Well, you don't give me an on-the-air light yet.
I think
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. So we're live on the
We're
Patreon
live
side.
right now.
We welcome everybody to the Boss Hog Liberty podcast that's watching live. We're sharing it so that our people know what's up. Awkward silence.
No, never. So Dakota.
Yeah.
How you doing over there, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Not
Chase.
too bad.
What about you? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I
You
tried.
saw him more recently than Dakota.
Well,
I tried to poke you on Facebook yesterday,
always.
and it wouldn't let me.
Oh, see? So you're going to cave first.
No, I wanted you to know I was on your profile, but I didn't add you.
This is the most
But I
awkward
couldn't
dating
do it.
ever.
I couldn't even like your picture.
I know. I like it that way.
Welcome to the Boss Hog Liberty podcast. This is episode number 99 of East Central Indiana's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by co-host Mr. Dakota Davis and third-rate co-host Chase Peyton.
Today's episode is featuring Mr. Corey Murphy from the Economic Development Corporation in Newcastle, Henry County. We will be talking to Corey about everything EDC. That's not Everyday Carry, it's Economic Development Corporation. And we will also be talking to Corey about his recent trip to Japan. And at the very end, we're going to talk a little bit about the State of the Union address and give all of our thoughts on the topic. So make sure you stick around to the end.
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. As always, we promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and an easy listen. At least fun. I don't know how easy it is to listen to us, but we're going to make it fun, darn it. We do want to thank all the Patreon folks. Anybody that goes to patreon.com/BossHogLiberty, you get added to a special Facebook group. You just got about 15 minutes of extra free content where we broke down the Super Bowl and what happened to us.
Yes, it was a very in-depth analysis of everything.
A lot
in the
of
Super
lot of
Bowl.
ones and twos and questioning why they punted on fourth down so many times.
I was really impressed with how much Corey had to offer in that conversation, especially after Chase started talking.
I was pretty silent.
Corey was pretty happy until Chase got here, and then
I started talking about nipples.
it was the Adam Levine talk, and it just made Corey uncomfortable. I didn't know he had so many problems with Adam Levine, but now you got to go back to the Patreon side and check that out. So you'll get it if you join the Patreon at any level. You get added to the Facebook group, and then you also get a push email notification whenever the audio goes up. Your special audio as well. So you get a private RSS feed that anything we record and put over there gets sent directly to you as well. So all kinds of benefits.
Special thank you to our $50 and up Patreon members, Mr. Christopher Bilbrey, Brantley Spicer, Christy Avery, Jonathan Phillips, and Craig DaCosta. You guys are all awesome. Patreon.com/BossHogLiberty is how we pay the bills for the studio. Corey remarked that it is chilly in here. We try to tell all of our guests that they need to wear a sweatshirt because the heat is very expensive. But if we get those Patreon numbers bumped up, we can make sure that you're comfortable next time.
Yes, that's the empty promise we're going to tell. And special advisory to anybody that joins the Patreon group next week, episode 100 on Valentine's Day. Any Patreon members, you are welcome to join this live studio audience next week for episode 100. We do have a mystery guest out in the studio audience this week.
Mac?
Yes, Mac up there, Mac up on the wall, the Spiceland deer. But anybody that joins the Patreon can join us next week as well. If you don't have any better plans for Valentine's,
Yes.
come on by, check it out, and
I'm
watch.
still looking for a date.
Watch out there in the distance.
Yes, you can bring your significant others and wear prom attire. There won't be any music, but
Or food.
you're free to do so if you want to wear prom attire.
We'll set up a table. You can set up a table. We won't set up a table for you. You're welcome to bring your candlelight and set up a table and order takeout and eat in the studio
It'd be a romantic evening.
and watch the live show.
Yeah.
Chris Guffey, before I got here, he gets here an hour and a half before at this point.
Because we have
5:20.
great internet.
I'm pretty sure what he's going to do at some point is he's going to move into the loft above the bathroom. And
Mike's
just-
in the
and-
chat. Don't tell him my plans.
and then just shower at the gym. I think he's just going to move here.
It'd be pretty cheap living.
There's
I'm actually going to just shower at Jeremiah's because he doesn't get home till 5:30, so I can sneak in his house, leave him a couple of dollars.
Hey, I know how to get into the house.
I do too.
Okay.
I watch the house.
Not that
Oh,
there's
yeah.
really not that many people that don't know how to get into my house at this point.
The whole county.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty close.
All right, let's talk to Corey Murphy. Let's go ahead and deep dive into every single gotcha question that we have lined up for you. Any crap? I just lost the word that I was going to try to use.
Any confessions? you have?
Corruption that you have under your belt.
Any corruption I have?
Yeah.
No corruption.
I've heard about it in Citizens of Henry County.
Oh, great. That is a fine location.
That's where I get all my news.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've noticed today looking at the Citizens of Henry County group, it's raining and nobody cares.
Yes.
We're flooded,
No one cares.
and government hasn't solved my problem, and I'm upset.
Yeah. Come on, commissioners, get on that. Okay, Corey, you are the president/CEO of the Newcastle Henry County Economic
One
Development
title just wasn't
Corporation.
enough for you, was it?
Hey, that's the
take 'em
title they
both.
gave me, so I took it.
That's a pretty good title.
Yeah, it's
That's
a great
pretty
title.
impressive for a business card, I will say.
Yeah.
A lot better than my business cards that just say co-host, Boss Hog of Liberty, not even host.
Mine doesn't say anything.
You want to push me out?
Yeah.
You wanna
This
get
is
rid
a
of me?
mutiny.
Mine says Jeremiah.
So what is the role of the president/CEO for an economic development corporation?
So the Economic Development Corporation is a not-for-profit. We're a public-private organization. And so I'm the lead staff member for that organization. Work for a board of directors of about 30 people, made up of elected officials, community leaders, business leaders. We do have, I have 2 team members. That's Penny York and Kelly Wasson. So it's certainly a team effort at our office.
Pull his mic in just a little tighter.
I was
Tom.
about to walk over there.
There we go.
I don't want you to get up.
What happens? It's taking out all of the ums on the front end of your statements. but
is okay.
sometimes you don't start with an and then we're just screwed.
I don't say
No, not on mic because it edits it for you.
Oh, great. Could I have this for everyday life then? Does it edit cuss words too?
No, Chase.
No.
Chase.
Fuck. Did you get that, Chris?
I got it. We're
Okay, good.
should
Maybe
have
we'll say
Brantley
it.
will be happy.
May have to say it one more time just to be sure.
Don't do it.
Shit.
Shut up.
So the role of the Economic Development Corporation is to encourage investment in our community, job creation in our community, and to improve the quality of life.
So you said it's a public-private. So what are your revenue streams? The companies voluntarily contribute and make it a line item in their annual budgets? How does this work?
So we are a 501c6, not-for-profit. We receive revenue, investment from the city of Newcastle, Henry County government, the town of Spiceland, and then we raise private contributions.
So it's a number of different streams that come
Yes.
together. And then I assume that do you guys seek grants, or is that not really your role on that side?
We do seek some grants, and so in the last 4 years, we've pulled in over $1 million in grants, primarily for infrastructure. Examples of that would be the Pierce Parkway road that connects State Road 3 to the Newcastle Motorsports Park, the extension of Brooks Drive south,
in our industrial park area.
Yes, I'm directionally challenged, so I had to think about it. So just east of Boar's Head.
So in that industrial park, it's not like the rest of the county where everything runs on a grid system. There's a lot of curves and arcs and radiuses. Being the most modern part of the county, it doesn't run quite true. So it makes sense. It's like every time I go to Hamilton Town Center, nothing makes sense there. I-69's at an angle, and every other road runs weird too. So I can understand why you would be. It's forgivable to be directionally challenged over there.
Yeah.
At Brooks Parkway.
Well, I'm directionally challenged everywhere. How about that?
Well, we'll defend you on that one.
Okay.
That's the home of the infamous Shell building. We've talked about the Shell building a lot on this show because I think that it would make a great jail. Very cheap, very effective. Do you have any comments on that? Do you think my idea would fly?
I think maybe the neighbors might object to that in terms of bringing.
I said that we could do a partnership with the industries right there and do a type of workforce training, and then as soon as they get out of jail, they can go get a job.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should take that under advisement.
How do I get on the EDC to really bring this idea to fruition?
Our board meetings are the second Thursday of every month. So Valentine's Day.
If they're not a Patreon member, you don't want to come here.
Right.
They can come to your board meeting.
It's 7:30 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
7:30 a.m. out at the Henry County REMC.
Oh, okay.
and they usually last for an hour. They're open to the public, and we usually have a guest speaker, so I don't have to come up with content. So the guest speaker this coming Thursday or next week is Crown Equipment.
Crown Equipment. You ever had Sean Rao as a guest speaker?
No, that would be dangerous.
He's a good guest speaker. We had him as the Libertarian Party of Henry
Oh,
County.
he's a great guy.
He bills by the hour, though. It's expensive. You want to get Sean involved.
It's the lawyer rates. I'm telling you.
You know, so the unique thing about the Economic Development Corporation is we don't approve anything. You know, we rely on our partners, whether that be a utility provider, whether that be local government, whether that be someone else. The best way to describe our role is a facilitator, a connector, marketing, the sales arm of the county. We serve all of Henry County. Some folks wonder why we spend so much time in Newcastle or just south of Newcastle. That's where our best product is from a business attraction standpoint in terms of land that's available, known to be for sale, and has all the necessary utilities already there. And you brought up the Shell building in terms of that is product for us in terms of marketing. So instead of spending money on billboards and national magazines and ads in the Wall Street Journal or in the Southwest Air magazine, we put our funds into having product for businesses to evaluate. And it lessens the amount of time a business would have to get to market in terms of it's expandable, it's flexible. And over the years, it has done its job by bringing people to the town because of the Shell building. Maybe they didn't buy the Shell building, but they bought
They went in that
elsewhere.
area.
It served as the model home, basically,
Yes.
is what it's done.
Absolutely.
So, and I've been critical of it myself at times, and at the time, a government doing a speculative building. But what it has done is it has demonstrated, and I think Boar's Head and some of the other micronutrients, maybe some of the other groups that have started the conversation by looking at that and said, well, that's not exactly what we want, but you do have this parcel 1,000 feet away that would suit your needs.
Yeah, there's approximately 30 Shell buildings across the state. This is our second Shell building. The first Shell building was built in the late 80s, early 90s. It is the blue building out on County Road 300 South.
It's the CarQuest building now.
No, just see that it goes directions again.
West?
East.
Which way
East.
towards Walmart?
East. No, away from Walmart.
East. Yes.
Yeah.
Towards Richmond.
So the
So
blue building.
that was one
the-
of my questions with
was
the
the
Shell
first Shell
building.
building.
Is if a company came in and said, "No, we want the Shell building. We want to build onto it." Would we start drafting plans to erect another one? Is it?
Quite likely.
Yeah.
In
It's
terms
that-
of
so it's that big of an asset.
it is
for
an
us.
effective marketing tool. And the
neat.
Shell building itself is not government alone. It is a
Right.
public-private partnership.
Runnable Construction was
Yeah,
involved, right?
so-
out of Shelbyville.
The County Redevelopment Commission put out an RFP, request for proposal, and this was done before I came. And so several, private firms put in proposals to partner with the county on that. And the revenue stream that is used to pay for that really can't be used to pay for other functions of government. And it
So
is-
if we started building another Shell building and people got on Citizens of Henry County and said, "Why are we building another Shell building when we aren't fixing the roads?" That would be the answer.
Yeah, we can't use that revenue stream for that function of government, and there aren't any residential taxes in the tax increment finance.
Yeah.
It's commercial and industrial.
So along those lines, do you think that we're on the right path as a city and a county? Do you look back and see the direction that we've been heading and the path that we're on as growing and doing good?
Yes, a lot of momentum here, tremendous opportunity here. What attracted me to this community and position back in late 2012, early 2013 was the kind of the history of this community and county willing to invest in itself. And that goes back to the formation of Memorial Park in terms of how that was founded. It extends to the building of the Newcastle Fieldhouse, built by community donations. In more recent times, the YMCA. this community typically wrestles above its weight class or boxes above its weight class in terms of having amenities, based on our per capita income, based on our population, that we probably shouldn't have, but the community is very generous. And then we have local government that is willing to partner and invest as well.
So we have listeners and viewers that are all over the country. They're not just Henry County people that watch the show. We have regular viewers that
I know,
we
it
got a
seems
guy.
weird, but it's true.
We have people in Hawaii. We have people in Europe. We have people from all over the place, and you never know quite who's watching or what's being observed. What's your 60-second, 90-second pitch about Henry County? Because you talked about, hey, we don't buy that ad that you see in every office waiting room of, hey, yeah, we're buying interstate, and we have roads, and we have water, we have all this stuff. What's your 60-second pitch about Henry County that makes it unique?
Well, our location is fantastic in terms of the ability to get other places, but to still have a small town, rural lifestyle, but be close enough to Indianapolis and the big city amenities, but maybe not pay the rent of the big city amenities.
I know we can afford a studio here for a podcast. It's
Yes.
incredible.
Crazy.
The people here are generally friendly, and one of our greatest assets, and the community's willingness to invest. From a pure economic development standpoint, we pride ourselves in being very efficient in our approval processes in terms of permitting, and I know you guys love permits.
Mhm.
And
Firm believer in them. Actually.
yes, and zoning application, but time is money to a business, and so the ability to move through a process efficiently and where it is predictable is very important, and that all goes back to public and private leadership.
So if you have a potential long-term business investor that is looking at Henry County, they've contacted you, and they want to come see the area, is there specific parts of Newcastle, the county? Where do you take them? What's the good side?
Well, so often we don't know who we are working with until later on in the process. Most of it is like filling out a dating application online. So pick your favorite.
It's EDC Tinder.
Yes, pick your favorite online dating application, and it's usually
Quite taken now.
confidential.
I've had some experience with Tinder.
I'm
once
trying
or
Tinder.
twice.
And so if we make it to a site visit, that's later on in the process. And we usually just ask what they're interested in seeing. But we would take them, obviously, to the site that they're looking at. If infrastructure is important to them, we like to show off the wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, everybody wants to see that.
Yes,
man.
absolutely. But the capacity there is very important to certain clients. Housing options, so whether that be, an historic neighborhood in Newcastle, or whether that be a newer subdivision out in Westwood. We would show them the Arts Park downtown. We would show them the YMCA, just to give them a flavor of the community. And, basketball. I mean, even if you don't like basketball, we have a great story to tell here, and it creates a conversation. So sometimes we host meetings at the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Got to give a shout out to Chris May and at the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame.
Do they do they contact like other business leaders in the county to see how they like if I'm a company coming in and I'm like I want to know what it's been like for businesses that are established. So would they reach out to like the people who initially are like the heads of Boar's Head out here and TS Tech? Is there intercommunication between them as well?
Yes.
Are you involved in those at all?
I am usually involved in setting up the appointment and making the connection, but I'm usually not in the room because I'm paid to say good things about the county. They want to have an honest conversation.
They want to
Yeah.
know. They want to know the real story.
Yes, but we have business leaders here in the community that are willing to do that, and they do it often. And so this is a team sport, in terms of selling our community on the business attraction side. And so often the best business attraction strategy is to make sure that your local businesses are as happy as possible.
That seems like a pretty good strategy to me. Happy business, happy. Trying to think of some. You got happy wife, happy life, happy industry.
So this
I don't know.
this isn't the first place that you've been an EDC executive. You have experience in other communities. What brought you to, and why are we lucky enough to have Corey Murphy here?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, so I spent nearly 6 years down on the Ohio River in Jefferson County, the city of Madison. And
You're the reason why the Jim Caviezel movie was made, I assume.
no, it was a great movie, though. And
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, I was reading Aaron Dickens.
Yeah, Aaron
comment.
Dickens wants to swipe right on a brewery on the Tinder match. At Madison, Indiana, there was Miss Madison was a hydroplane boat,
No, I have no idea.
and Jesus, Jim Caviezel, was in that movie. Anyway,
I'll get you a copy.
Yeah, I
it's like the
appreciate it.
Hoosiers of Southern Indiana.
Yeah, Some
Okay.
Came Running was filmed there as well.
Don't know that movie either.
Oh boy.
You don't know Hoosiers?
No, I know Hoosiers. I don't know Some Came Running.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's
gonna
a
say-
classic. So anyway, I spent about 6 years in a similar role, and politics, and not your typical Republican or Democrat politics, but community dynamics changed, and could no longer do economic development. We wanted to fight about economic development, and so it was time for me to look to go somewhere else. Much to my wife's chagrin, we had been there nearly 6 years, and we're beginning to put down roots. But I love this profession because of the impact you can have on a community. I describe this as 1 foot in business, 1 foot in government. You want to make sure that they don't get too far apart. So this opportunity came available, and I decided to throw my name in the hat, so to speak.
All right.
And it turned out.
Yes, I've been here 6 years, and I've been doing economic development in some fashion for almost 15.
So what is the role of the state economic development corporation compared to the role of your side of things on the local level?
So the state has a much larger marketing budget, so they're working on the brand of the state, a state that
The
works.
state was that you guys?
No, but
Oh.
I mean, so they're promoting the brand, and then they are a good source of leads for us in terms of opportunities to submit on projects, and they provide on projects that qualify. They will provide a certain set of incentives that are more geared towards training and tax credits, and then the local incentive toolbox is more geared towards infrastructure and kind of property tax based.
Okay.
So the incentives on an attraction project or an expansion project, they kind of do this. And so we work hand in hand with the state in terms of promoting Indiana.
All right. So I guess the next question I had on here was how you attract a long-term business, but I'm pretty sure that you've already answered that, going through just through everything that you do to try to get businesses here. But how do you compete with other counties across the state? How do you, or is it a competition? I guess I don't know how the
Excuse me,
dynamics.
just
We're all
Excuse me
noticing
just
a second
That
can
is
of
beautiful
Budweiser has
beer.
just opened.
That is beautiful beer.
It is a.
You finished the first one? my
I don't even know how many ounces this is. It may be measured in gallons. He's completed the first one. Is this the how many Budweiser?
For those of
challenge
you
can you have?
listening on the audio only side, Chase Peyton brought in 2 tall boys of Budweiser today.
2 for 4, baby.
2 for 4?
That's a buck. That's like 50 cents a beer,
I don't think.
roughly.
Are those made with corn syrup?
Wind power.
Oh man.
It's just all wind power, Dakota. Did you see the commercial?
Only wind power. That's how they carbonate it too.
Yeah.
Henry County
0
could have had a
calories.
Budweiser. we could have got Anheuser-Busch.
It was a great song in that commercial.
Oh, I know it was.
And the
Yeah.
Clydesdale horses. I mean, it was.
I was.
I liked it.
Kirsten Kronk's got happy industry, happy citizenry.
I like it.
We got the scrap a state that works. This is the new slogan for the state of
There you
Indiana.
go.
I hope Bob Dylan's reputation hasn't been ruined by the Budweiser people. I'm telling you, it was.
Probably not.
I'm pretty sure it's intact.
You think it's okay?
I
Yes.
think Bob Dylan will be more than fine.
I don't know. Next thing you know, first we're not going to be able to have Budweiser on tap at local bars. And then you're not. They're going to take Bob Dylan off the jukebox.
Okay. Here's a good question for you, Corey.
I'd be okay with that.
Is the focus
You're just a troll today.
is
a
the
troll.
is the focus of the Economic Development Corporation? Do you guys focus on bringing large businesses and corporations here, or do you also have to kind of split your time between them and the small guys as well?
So the sexy part of this business is the business attraction, bringing in the new. But the most source of jobs and investment come from local companies that are already here. And so we address both of those sectors, and particularly on the small business and entrepreneurship level, we partner with the Indiana Small Business Development Corporation to have small business advising, so a business counselor in the county at no cost to the client. We make a contribution out of our budget to their organization to have a business advisor available in the county, meeting with existing businesses or entrepreneurs. As a kind of a go along or side project to that, we have a revolving loan fund. The revolving loan fund was basically funded by a grant from the USDA, and then we use local dollars out of our budget to match. So if all the money was paid back, we have about $150,000. We're not designed to compete with banks. We're designed to fund projects that have a good business plan, but maybe the risk is just too much for a bank. We have a loan committee that approves those loans. So in the last 4 years, we have provided $321,000 worth of loans to 12 different businesses here in Henry County.
And the EDC has served as the bank in those instances.
Yes.
So then you make whatever the spread is, some sort of a. They're not low. They're not no interest loans.
They are
right?
not no interest. Typically, our starting interest rate is 6%, and then we can go up depending on the risk.
The state government's not going to start regulating you like they are loan sharks, are they? Are you
I
in
hope-
line?
I hope
Have
not.
your wrists smacked by
Yes.
by Gene Lysing and Tom Saunders and all the rest of the gang down there?
Corey looks just like a loan shark. I could see walking in.
They don't look like loan
Walking
sharks.
into
They wear suits just like Corey does.
walking into the back room at Primo, and Corey's in a pinstripe suit with a rose, with an offer you can't refuse.
So you said your meetings are once a month on Thursdays down at the Henry County REMC Dakota.
Huh?
But so how does somebody go about becoming a board member? Some of those are private appointments and some are public appointments. What comprises your board?
So the board is made up of public officials. So the city council has a representative, the mayor's on the board, county council's represented, county commissioners, Spiceland Town government, Middletown, and Knightstown all have appointments. And then we try to select a good cross-section of the business community. The education sector is represented, community volunteers, community leaders. It's spelled out in our bylaws, but it is a good cross-section of the community serving on the board of directors and providing leadership, providing kind of being the cheerleader for our mission out in the community. And we appreciate their service. And we hold an annual meeting, usually in March or April, depending on the guest speaker's schedule. And so, that's when the board elections are held. And so if people have interest in serving on the board, you can, contact the office and let us know.
And that's right there at the annual meeting. So with the city leadership, you had the opportunity to pitch Henry County or meet with some of the people we have business relationships with in Japan recently. Tell us about that a little bit.
This is the fun stuff.
This is the junket, right?
How long was that flight?
Long. Very long.
I'm sure it was
think the-
direct from Newcastle International. Straight
Yeah,
to,
it was
straight
about
to
12 hours.
Tokyo.
Yeah. Did you leave from Newcastle
Yes, sure did.
Municipal?
Yes.
Yep. A 2-person jet, just you and Mayor York.
Yes.
Because Mayor York's got his pilot's license.
He does.
Yeah. He's got a T-shirt hanging up in one of the hangars at the airport when he got his license. I used to work there.
Okay.
But anyway.
That and you're just a good creeper.
Yeah.
Do you have
Well-
your license?
No.
No, okay.
No,
on my,
I just changed the oil and filled them full of gas. and-
okay. That's on my bucket list. actually.
That's me too.
Yeah.
You've we haven't addressed
All
it yet.
three of us. If we
yeah.
don't have our licenses by the time we're 30. Oh, wait.
Wait, time.
Well, Corey just won. Corey just
Thank
won
you.
the 40 under 40, and I think he just barely made it. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, look at me. In fact, many people didn't believe I was under 40.
That's insulting.
That's okay. If I shave this beard,
If you shave that beard, you're boyish.
I'd have a baby face.
What? I don't know. Why do you have the beard? Is it? Do you have to keep your house cold too? And
You
you're
know,
just
I
trying
have,
to warm up?
I have a funny story about that. I had an elected official come up to me about a couple years ago, and they shall remain nameless. They said, I don't like your beard. And I said, I don't sleep with you. And he said, good point.
Was it Jeremiah? Because he doesn't.
no.
He was never elected.
Jeremiah's never won an election.
Jeremiah doesn't like
0 for
facial
3.
hair, so Chris knows that.
Yeah, the stash had to go.
It's growing back.
I voted to keep your.
I know.
I voted to keep your.
But I'm
mustache.
actually, I think I'm just going
Real quick, Corey, I have another question from Patreon member Christopher Bilbrey. And in short, it's are you able to hold elected office, or is that a conflict of interest in your position?
Am I able to hold elected office?
Mhm.
That was probably a conflict of interest.
You wouldn't feel comfortable doing that?
No.
Okay.
In
I would
terms
say
of
that's a safe bet.
yeah, and I'm involved in enough, or the people in this role are involved enough in the civic affairs of a community. We probably shouldn't be.
But like you said earlier, your board of directors, some of them are made up of elected
Absolutely,
officials.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I am not a city employee or a county employee. I work for the not for profit organization.
How do the bribes work if it's a non-for-profit? Just I'm asking for
How do the
For-
bribes work?
the rampant corruption. How does that work if you're a non-profit? I
Well,
think you have
so-
to be for-profit to make that.
So in terms of when the votes are taken, I don't have one, so I don't really understand how that works.
Somebody's getting bribed, and you,
You're scratching your head too.
yeah, I have the ability to make a recommendation.
who's getting bribed in this county? I keep
Yeah.
hearing about it, and and I don't see anybody buying new cars and new houses.
Oh, I seen 2 people buy new cars, and they're sitting right there hosting this show.
So, with your trip to Japan, was it all business, or did you get to see anything cool? Or
This was actually my 3rd trip to Japan.
okay,
Oh.
So when I was down in Madison, I took 2 similar trips, and the purpose of the trip is to call on the head offices, as they like to call them, the corporate headquarters of the companies that are located in your region. And so because relationships and building trust and rapport is so important in the Japanese business culture, and Indiana is the one of the largest sources of Japanese investment. And so it's vitally important to build those relationships. And so the business retention expansion component of our mission is the primary reason we went. So we met with executives from TS Tech and executives from Keeper Corporation. The 2 companies here in Henry County, it represents over 450 jobs and well over $40 million worth of investment. And so they have choices.
Keeper's been here a longer time.
Yes.
TS Tech is in the last decade investment in Henry County.
Correct. Keeper located here in the early 2000s, and TS Tech located here in 2007. Note the time, 2007. The Great Recession hit
Right after they got here.
right after they got here.
And they're
They
a
stuck around.
feeder business for the Honda assembly plant in Greensburg.
Yes, they're a Tier 1, just-in-time supplier. One of the few Honda suppliers that located in Indiana to service Greensburg. Most of the other Honda suppliers just expanded in Ohio
Because they already had a number of
Yes.
facilities over there.
and shipped to Greensburg. But back to your original question, yeah, there was an opportunity to see a few things. Probably the Nagoya Castle.
Okay.
And so if you go to the local Japanese restaurant here, on their menu, you will see a picture of the Nagoya Castle.
Is it a
And,
picture of you and Mayor York standing in front
No.
of him?
But I love the food over there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you've eaten anything weird over there.
Well, so this trip, I ate snail.
They could probably really mess up a Big Mac over there, I'm guessing.
Yes. Although Mayor York found a Big Mac. He had to test the Big Mac.
I saw Mayor York did say in his in the little write up they did about it in the Courier Times that one thing he noticed over there was that the streets were impeccably clean.
Yes,
How-
absolutely.
How are the potholes over there? Did they have potholes?
Do they have the state police telling people to just try not to drive on one of the major highways in the state?
You know, that's I-69, by the way, between
Between-
Scatterfield and MLK, and so I have intimate experience with that drive. My parents were up at watching a basketball game, and their tire became victim.
Last
Uh-oh.
year, State Representative Melanie Wright, right after she was on the show, she had a flat. The state representative had a flat tire and a pothole. This morning, I talked to one of my coworkers. He passed 9 vehicles that had a flat and were disabled on the side of the road heading northbound on I-69.
Dang.
I don't remember
Unreal.
any potholes.
No potholes.
over there,
Not in
but
Japan.
public transportation is probably
Pretty
a bigger
big there,
deal.
and
Yes,
like mopeds too. Like
Bicycles.
They're really.
bicycles, mopeds.
I know that Japan is on the cutting edge of electronic mopeds in the world right now.
Yeah.
One of the world leaders. They have some that are they have the same size engine as what would be equivalent to a 125cc motorcycle here in the States.
Muncie is on the cutting edge of scooters, but for different reasons. Everybody rides a scooter in Muncie.
Those are called boozer bikes.
Now, State Representative Tom Saunders, you were talking about the just-in-time inventory and getting to Greensburg in a hurry from Newcastle. Representative Saunders has talked about a hope to maybe get State Road 3 all the way down to I-74 in a four-lane configuration. That's what he represents. Newcastle, and he represents a portion of Rush County in the city of Rushville. I would imagine that if that were to happen at some point, it would be even more advantageous to Henry County in our
Absolutely,
geography.
and I appreciate Representative Saunders, advocating for that project, and I've been involved with discussions and activities to promote the improvement of State Road 3 between here and Greensburg, in partnership with our friends in Rush County, and
I say there were some pictures of you in the governor's office with our friend John McCain and some others last
Absolutely.
year. I'd imagine that was one of the things you guys talked about.
that was the main thing we talked about, was getting that project on NDOT's radar and planning to improve it, because it's vital to have access between 70 and 74.
Very good.
So, why would a Japanese company be interested in coming to Newcastle or Henry County?
So you've got to step back and look at Indiana and the Midwest as a whole first. That it is a known place to do business. Indiana is home to 3 original equipment manufacturers. The first being up in Lafayette.
Subaru,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And then Toyota over in Princeton, and then Honda Greensburg. So Indiana has a solid reputation in Japan as a place to do business. In terms of specific location in Indiana, a lot of that is going to be driven as where their customer is. Where is that plant going to ship their material? And so that decision, and not only for the Japanese, but many other businesses, is going to determine where they're looking to make their
We
investment.
want to be in this, kind of like a plot on a map.
Yes.
and
You have to be within a certain
This amount of
radius of
miles.
that assembly location.
Yes.
yeah, radius. That's the word I was looking for.
So-
Hey man, I'm
You
here
got
with
me.
Subaru and Radius. I'm 2 for 2 today, baby.
So often we're on a site search because of geography. And then it becomes site-specific,
How can we eliminate some communities?
and then it becomes community. It's always going to be, their business needs first, driving a general location. Then it's going to be, do you have the real estate or the building that works? And then they're going to look at the community dynamics. Incentives, I know that it would be popular, with this crowd here in terms of, but, incentives do come into play, but towards the last part of the decision-making criteria. I would be the first one to lay down the incentives and not do them when my competition does the same.
And during my campaign, that's the thing I talked about constantly. I said it's a race to the bottom, because if, it's just like a stadium subsidies, right? So
Yes. That's great.
Right. So it's the same thing. If Los Angeles wouldn't, or, says no to a subsidy, and Minnesota says no to subsidy, and so does Las Vegas, then all of a sudden the NFL's out of the subsidy business, and we're not having them anymore. But you have the same problem if Henry County competes against Delaware County, competes against Rush County, and you all offer the same thing, then you're back to even again. If you can have a little truce pact here and say we're going to stop doing this, then it's apples and oranges. It's apples and apples, and you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
We're eliminated at the state level.
And
I'm sure that Governor
Holcomb.
Rob Kendall
Oh,
will make that happen.
okay.
and the challenge is it's not just our, surrounding counties that we're competing against. It's, usually other states.
Sure, you've got Ohio and other
and sometimes
locations.
other countries in terms of where an investment can be made. So
Well, we'll go back to, in theory, the TS Tech example, right?
Absolutely.
So that's a project that was going to happen within 55 or 60 miles of
Sure.
Greensburg, Indiana.
yes,
So if you look at that radius and you said, hey, these communities, they don't have to do that, or if you, we'll call it pricing discipline from my job as a salesman, if the market said, hey, this is just the way we're going to operate now, then it could be taken care of without having to use that tool. And obviously, when you are put in the position you are and communities are put in the position they are, you guys, you pretty much have to do it. If you're told, well, listen, man, I'd love to go with you, but there's $1.5 million from Rush County, and I can't go with you because I'd be stupid for my stockholder to not take that.
there's a saying in this business that incentives don't make a bad site good. So usually a decision is not going to be made solely on incentives. They're going to narrow it down to 2 or 3 sites that work for their business, and then they're going to look at kind of the softer side of the equation, because eventually the incentives run out, and, is that community, is that place, is that region a good place to do business? So we're not solely focused on incentives. We want to have smart incentive policies. We want to have responsive incentive policies, but probably more important, we want to have a good environment in which to operate.
Yep. All right. But that's not the goal of this. Is not to debate that subject. We've talked about that enough in other areas. But you brought it up, so I figured we'd
Absolutely.
we'd at least have a little bit of that
Sure.
dialogue.
Going back to the snail, how was it? 1 to
Extra
10?
hot sauce.
That was my first time, and I probably won't eat it again.
Okay.
How was it prepared?
Extra snotty.
I'll show you a picture maybe off camera
Okay.
here. It'd take me too long to find it, but it looked like it had probably been boiled, shell and all, and you look down in there, you see it, and rubber chicken.
Yeah. I had an oyster one time.
What? I love oysters.
I was with this girl in college, and she said she wouldn't kiss me anymore if I didn't eat the oyster. So I ate it, and it was disgusting.
All for a kiss.
Oh, yes.
Just a kiss. Chase did warn us. If he winked tonight, it's because one of his contacts is missing.
But that time he blinked. He used
No,
both eyes.
I did not.
One of the funnest things, if that could be a word, that happened on the trip is we went to a Japanese professional basketball game.
Okay.
We were guests of the Tochigi Brex. Tochigi is a prefecture in Japan, so that's a state. And Indiana and Tochigi have been sister states for many, many years. And through the efforts of the Japan American Society of Indiana, who helped us with the trip, they had a relationship with the ownership at Tochigi bricks, and so we went to a professional basketball game and had courtside seats. It was a great experience. I can tell you that the fan interaction is a little bit different over there. They are chanting the entire game
That's
Really?
pretty cool.
in English.
Shame.
Really?
So we could
Shame. Shame. Things like that.
no defense or let's score, but
Regular chance.
regular chance. So we could participate,
Why didn't you become a doctor?
and only a certain number. Of,
Apparently, they sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm bad at stuff like that.
You did a perfect Russian accent.
Wait until you hear my Russian accent.
Perfect Japanese. Weird.
I blame the Budweiser.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going on over there at this time. He might get a
So how did Mayor
a
York take
suspension.
all of this? Was
You're
there
not
a lot
allowed
of-
back next week, Chase. You're
this
out.
was this
Okay.
was your third time, but I'm assuming it was his first.
No, it was his second.
His second.
His second time, I think, first time on official business, so to speak. But the Japanese aren't typically tall. They're not, generally
Right.
tall people, and Mayor York's
A tall man.
a tall man. So it
Was he signing autographs?
It was easy to spot as we're walking through the subway or walking down the street. He was easy to find.
Now, breaking news: co-host Danny Morrell, if he ever comes back, he texted me yesterday and said I thought his phone got stolen. He said he has a trip to Japan coming up, and that I'm going to be his contact just in case of his death or something happening. So in next month or two, Danny's going to be going over for a business trip as well.
You know what part?
Tokyo. He'll be visiting Tokyo. So
What part did you guys go to?
So Tokyo, and then a couple of the surrounding states or prefectures, and then we took the bullet train or the Shinkansen over to Nagoya.
Was that a cool experience?
Oh, it's very cool.
It's about
we
200
need to get
miles
one
an
of
hour,
those
right?
over here,
It
right?
is, yes.
We need
I
to get
mean,
one here.
It would hit
here
a
that goes
pothole and it would
to.
go terribly wrong.
We'll get one here that goes to Indianapolis and then all the way to Richmond.
Does it feel super fast, or you just not even notice it?
You don't notice it.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Huh.
And they serve snacks.
It's like riding in my
Ooh.
Buick that I bought at Andy Moore Buick GMC in Fishers, Indiana, from Jonathan Phillips.
I don't know. My GMC Terrain that I bought at Andy Moore Buick GMC is also a nice.
From
Buick.
Jonathan
See, that's where the corruption money's going. I already know it.
If you stop by, mention Jeremiah Morrell. Don't mention Dakota. He doesn't need the money. So, what was the language barrier like? Did you practice your Rosetta Stone, or did they send a guy with you? How'd that go down?
Their English is better than mine. So, I could live over there from just a culture standpoint in the country. Awesome people.
Would your wife be on board?
Probably not. But,
You said she
that
had-
could
you said
work
she
out
had
good
an
for
issue
her,
with,
though.
Madison.
That could, she loved Madison.
Well, I mean, leaving Madison.
Yes.
So-
But
Were you guys there for the bridge construction and never got to see it open? How was your timing in Madison?
so the bridge construction was one of my favorite projects in terms of lobbying for funding for that. And the construction had just started when
So you didn't get
when
to
I
see
left.
the finish, basically.
No.
Yeah.
but it was a fantastic, engineering feat in
Oh.
terms of the bridge slide and
Absolutely. So there was the Milton Madison Bridge. Madison, Kentucky's on the other side, or Madison, Indiana, Milton, Kentucky, and there was an existing bridge. They built a temporary one, and then, they built a new one, and then they removed the existing and slid it over. So over like maybe a 10 or 12-day closure, they went from the temporary pier to the new pier.
How do you slide a bridge?
Very carefully.
Walsh Construction can do almost anything for the right amount of
very
money.
carefully. That was a huge infrastructure project in terms of because the Madison economy was dependent on that bridge from a workforce standpoint. Trimble County, Kentucky, much smaller community, and he's taking a picture. We got to smile.
He said
Sorry, I don't know
he
the
said no.
rules. Sorry.
Chris Guffey's taking a picture, and he said, "You don't have to smile."
Nobody's ever smiled on this show before.
But that was critical in terms of if the bridge would have closed, it would have really hurt business in Madison because the population over in Trimble County is probably 9 or 10,000.
What happened to the materials that were used for the spare bridge, the temporary?
They were removed.
I mean, did
There's
they
a nice
go to?
video of it dropping in the river.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'd be a
that's
good
cool.
Google exercise.
Yeah,
Milton
Alright.
Madison Bridge.
Demolition.
that would be.
You know,
pretty cool to
originally
watch.
built in 1929 with tolls.
Well, that's a user fee. That's
Yes.
Jared, did you
a good
ever,
way to pay for roads, as long as we're not getting taxed.
Did you ever get to the point in Red Dead Redemption where you have to blow up the bridge?
I've not. No, I've kind of quit Red Dead.
Are
Actually,
you serious?
I haven't quit. I've just paused.
That game made me cry.
I haven't played in a
It
while.
made me cry too.
I'm not gonna lie. Was your honor up?
It was up.
Yeah.
I had the good ending, but I was still sad. I was really
You're
hoping.
missing out. You don't know what you're missing. That's what you could be doing in between showing potential business leaders around the county.
I was hoping they'd leave it open for a third one, but
They totally did.
I guess.
You can always do a prequel, postquel. You've got options.
No, the Red Dead
It is a
Redemption
prequel.
2 is a prequel.
Right. You can go another
You
one.
have Jack Marston's son,
Anyway.
or
He's-
John Marston.
He's
Jack
just-
Marston.
He's
is
just a
his son.
nerd, though.
All right. So
He could be the author that Arthur runs into at the bar.
we've been covering the State of the Union, or the government being shut down, and the State of the Union got pushed back a week or so.
Yep.
So I wanted to hear from the cast of thousands here. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you have a favorite moment? Did you want to walk out at any point? What was the moment of the night to you? We'll start with Dakota and work our way around the room.
My moment of the night.
Better not steal my thunder.
I have a moment of the night too.
I have a good one.
Did you watch?
I have two good ones.
Yes,
I'm actually
Jared.
surprised he knows what it is.
I have a powerful moment and a funny moment.
Okay.
Ooh.
The
okay.
powerful moment is whenever Trump said that successful nations aren't involved in endless wars. That was a powerful moment. Hearing the president say that.
Thomas Massey said on the Glenn Beck show the next day that 10 people out of Congress clapped for that. Said it was an obvious applause line, and 10 out of 450,
Yeah, which is sad, but it was a powerful line. I liked it.
530.
And then my funny moment was whenever Trump said that we were reaffirming at that moment that America is not and will never be a socialist nation. Shout out to Darren Jacobs. And they zoomed in on Bernie Sanders' face, and he was like,
Yes. Yeah,
I
he
thought it was just great that C-SPAN would immediately zoom in on Bernie Sanders in the middle of the speech after that line. It was hilarious.
You watched it on C-SPAN?
Well, yeah. Where else are you going to watch it?
Any
C-SPAN. Everything with
Fox,
everything
CNN.
has
Fox
to do with
News.
politics. No.
Everybody's got it
C-SPAN is probably one of the only political news sources that doesn't have an obvious tilt to it.
because it's government owned.
Exactly.
It's like watching the city of Newcastle feed. You just get what's there.
I think C-SPAN is a great public service provided to us by the government.
So, I watched,
Transparency.
and my favorite, I guess, if we're picking two, my favorite moment that was an accident was the president talking about his job creation and how he was how he created all these new jobs, and then all of the women in white stood up, all the new congresswomen stood up, cheering, laughing,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of noted it, and then he said, "Well, don't sit down." And then he recognized the fact that there were more women serving in Congress now than ever. And then there were a bunch of people
He's
complaining.
a sexist.
A bunch of people complaining on Twitter about the speaker sitting behind him. When he shows up, the speaker and the vice president are given a copy of the speech. I don't think I've ever seen Denny Hastert or John Boehner or any of the other speakers go through and read the speech as he's going along, but she was literally page by page reading ahead, trying to figure out where he's at. I guess to plan her facial tics. I don't know.
Did she do like a weird clap?
She did. Yes.
Did.
Was that your favorite
I saw
part?
something about. No, it wasn't my favorite part. But I saw
Because that could have been
something about
Guffey's. I don't know what. Yeah, there he is over the
that.
corner.
I heard like an FU clap. That's how it was described.
The
in
show
the
notes
post I
say
saw.
condescending clap.
Okay, well that's how I saw it on Barstool Sports.
What are your favorite? What's your favorite moments?
My
Chase?
favorite moment was the kid who fell asleep in the audience, because that would have been me. I would have watched it.
Do you have another one? We're doing two.
That was it.
That
I
was it?
didn't. That and the FU clap.
What about you, Guffey?
Yeah, like Jeremiah said, one of my favorites obviously was when all the women in white stood up, and then they go to sit down, and he's like, "Whoop, whoop, whoop, wait a minute, you're gonna really like this one." And then probably actually number one for me was when he was recognizing all the World War II vets at the end.
That was
Like,
cool.
like he already recognized them at the beginning, but then at the end, and then he's talking about
The contagious.
the Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
That the same World War II vet that was sitting right beside him was like, "This guy helped liberate the camp,"
Yeah,
it's just such a powerful moment. Absolutely.
absolutely. You're right, Mr. Murphy. Any takeaways from the State of the
You
Union?
know, unfortunately, I missed it. I was at a basketball game.
And you didn't go back and watch the
No,
C-SPAN
I did
replay?
not. Even after
Was it a local basketball game?
Yeah, my son plays for Tri, and we were over at Liberty Christian.
Well, excuse you.
It wasn't Lakers Pacers, and you weren't
No.
sitting at the Hooters waiting on Lance to come by.
No, and even after I, found out that you guys were going to talk about this, I still couldn't bring myself to watch it.
It's okay. I didn't either. I saw a couple posts, and that's what.
So,
But
we kind of swap places. I think is what happened. Whenever it's sports ball season, I watch
Yes.
highlight reels, and don't just skip on the full game. And whenever it's something that has to do with politics, I think Chase just watches the highlight reels.
I watched debates.
And I watch the full thing.
That's when I get into it.
Wrong.
Lion Ted. Lion Ted gets me going.
Lion Ted.
Okay, I gotta admit, that beard on Ted Cruz makes him look amazing.
Yeah, I really think Trump
got
ought
like
to
a
grow
little,
one now.
I've got like a little crush on him. Like a little
I
man
think that
crush.
Trump would guarantee himself a re-election bid if he shaved his head slick bald and grew out a beard.
Oh.
It definitely
The power
couldn't make
beard.
Ted Cruz
Power
look
beard.
worse.
So,
He's a weird looking dude anyway.
this conversation just sparked something about the State of the Union. Trump got a haircut for this speech.
I
did.
did not notice
Did
that.
he?
I noticed
Yes,
it.
it was less
Wild.
wild and involved. So that's my favorite part,
Ah,
was Trump got a haircut.
so
Do
good.
you want him to go all the way off?
No.
What about me? Are you on board with my plan? If I'm hired to the Trump campaign, first thing I'm going to do is make him shave his head bald and grow a beard,
That'd be
power
cool.
beard.
What if he can't grow a
One
beard?
earring.
That'd be cool. Can you take away Twitter, too?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that was the
No,
other-
no. Twitter won him that election for sure.
Maybe
hands down.
maybe
That's
a neck
that's why
tat.
Corey wants to
The
get rid
trolling.
of it. He's got an agenda. He's wearing his Bartlett '98 shirt.
Yes, I am.
I think he'd write in Martin Sheen this time if he had
I
a
would.
chance.
Jed Bartlett for president.
You think Trump's hair is
Bartlett
real?
for America.
It is.
It's something.
Haven't you seen the pictures of him going up like on the Air Force One, and the wind blows it, and
I've
it's all
seen-
just a long comb over, and it blows it in the back.
I saw the video where Jimmy Fallon was pulling on it. So.
That's fake news.
It's fake news.
Fake news.
Pretty sure you saw that on CNN.
I probably did. Don't tell my grandpa.
All right, we are getting to that point in the show where we give our folks their final chance to sell something, thank somebody, promote something, or pick up something we skipped over. We will start with Chase Peyton.
Boom, boom.
Do you want to come back to my Super Bowl party next year? Is it a
Yeah,
thing?
I'll
We're
come
gonna go
back.
every year. My dog didn't pee on
If-
you this time, so I
If
kind
the
of
Bears
apologize
aren't
for
in
that.
it, which they probably will be, I will. I'll come.
Go Packers.
Why won't you come? Why won't you come if the Bears are in?
I'm not gonna come if the Bears are in because it's just I can't do it. For one thing, I'll probably be in New York watching it with my uncle,
You would leave the state. You would travel. You'd be a
Yes.
tourist.
or I'll be in Chicago
Hey,
getting ready for the parade,
Or he'll be at the Super Bowl.
or I'll be at the Super Bowl.
Where is
Probably
it?
not
Where is the Super Bowl next year?
Miami.
you know,
So it's gonna be a Colts
That's your old
Bears
stomping
rematch.
ground. Isn't
Yeah.
that your old, yeah.
the Indianapolis or the Baltimore Colts have played in 4 Super Bowls. Do you know where every one of those Super Bowls have been played?
Miami.
I might
It's-
have to go.
it's-
We might have to go to Miami together
We'll go.
next year.
It'll be a rematch, and we'll win
Really?
this time.
Every single one of their Super Bowls
Every
has
Super
been
Bowl the Colts have
Miami?
been in has been in
A
Miami.
little superstitious. little superstitious here.
2-2. They built a roof so it won't get rained on this time, like that one that the Colts played in against the Bears. Remember that one, Super Bowl 41? You remember that one?
I don't remember that one, Jared. We've been over this. I was like 10 years old.
Check.
You don't remember things from when you were.
I
You
re-
were not 10 years old.
I was
you were,
12.
You
Is
were
that the one
12.
where Hester?
How do
ran
you
it
not
back?
have memories from when you
The
were
only
12?
the only thing I remember was the run back, the kickoff.
Yeah,
Devin
Devin
Hester.
Hester.
And I honestly didn't care because up until that point, I was like a Colts Bears fan, and I chose the Bears that night. And ever since then, I've been strictly a Bears fan.
That was
Seeing the
his turning
Colts win, seeing the Colts win, I was like, whatever.
This is where they make me feel old, Corey, because I feel like that Super Bowl was just like last week,
Yes.
and he's like, "Oh, I don't remember it. I was a kid."
I was probably just getting my first pubic hair. Anyways, final thoughts.
And first getting out of diapers, right?
Yes, yeah.
He's 12. What do you expect?
I stopped peeing the bed during that Super Bowl.
But
Final
he
thoughts.
had the race car bed in his childhood, in his bedroom.
Actually, false. I didn't have a race car bed until I was 17. When I 18, when I came back from college.
In Chase's defense, he is from a broken home. So
That's true. But you know what? I loved that race car bed, and I was very pissed
Do you
when they
still
got
have
rid
it?
of it. No, they
They
got rid of it.
When?
Yeah, like 4 years ago.
I was going to talk about Smurfs and He-Man, but that's you probably don't know those either.
I know the Smurfs. My
I
mom loved
I know
them.
He-Man.
You don't
Corey,
know He-Man?
Corey, what is your official number? What are you?
I am 39.
39.
39.
Okay.
All
And
right.
a half?
did
We're
scrape
going
by
to
on
get
that.
back to that in a second.
39 and a half?
Guffey, your final thoughts?
I didn't even go through my final
Oh my!
thoughts.
You're still going?
Final thoughts. It's the worst time of the year. There's no important sports going on. You can say basketball, but basketball doesn't get good until the playoffs.
Baseball comes around in March.
Baseball comes
Hockey's
around
on.
soon.
Hockey's on. If you say it's not important, I will mute you right now.
I go Penguins, but I don't even keep up with that until the playoffs.
Penguins?
And
Are you serious?
Black and yellow is pretty cool.
sports doesn't get good again until March when March Madness starts. I think we should.
You know, they are playing college basketball now, right?
I know I keep up with
The
it, but
Hoosiers just upset.
it still doesn't.
The
Yeah,
Spartans.
Michigan State, which I think that's the first time for them winning at Michigan State in a long time. But
It's excellent analysis. I'm glad we pay you so much for this.
yes, yeah. But sports doesn't get good again until March Madness starts. Beginning of March, I think we should make a.
You didn't enjoy Lance Stevenson saying, "Have my table ready. I'm coming to Hooters," and after the Pacers-Lakers game, and then the Lakers changed their flight, so Lance couldn't go.
Oh, I think we should. I think we should do brackets this year
Do you want
for
to?
March Madness.
We're going to put you in charge of that. You can either decide if it's a anybody pick'em league or if it's going to be Patreon only. You are officially in
anybody.
charge.
Anybody who watches,
We
the
can put them
show.
on the blackboard.
Oh God, that sounds complicated. All right,
Updates.
you're in charge. You are running this,
Updates.
but I will
Okay.
participate.
All right.
Yeah.
Are we doing
All right.
one with you this year again?
10
Or was
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
with Joe?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
cool.
for sure.
All right. Guffey,
Sounds good.
final thoughts.
Well, as you all know, next Thursday is Valentine's Day. If you are going to be here,
You're a single lady.
I am a single lady. I'm just looking for my single man. So if anybody needs a date, I will be here at the studio, patiently waiting.
Now, I don't want to point out the obvious, but like 3 episodes ago, Grace Yinger was sitting in that chair just begging for a date. Have you called the girl? Because you're on our airwaves doing the same thing.
I could see that.
A little FaceTime or something.
Let's try that out.
Hey, get her. Hey, Chris. young Chris.
I'm just saying. I saw. She was asking for, and then you're here. Let's make this work.
You
Get
have a
her-
MySpace page?
Get her Snapchat.
All the fish
I'm
in
in
the
the
sea,
I'm
man.
in the
Swipe.
Snapchat group.
That's
that
where
contains all of it.
that's where all the goodies goes now, man. Is the Snapchat.
I'm
Not
just
the
saying, man.
DM.
Swipe right. We can have it. I'll supply the candles. I don't care.
Do. But anyways,
I'll bring my sax.
can you play
I
that?
do play sax. Yeah.
Oh, that should be a Patreon thing. That should be a Patreon thing. We'll turn the lights off. Candle lit.
So
But other than that, I don't have hockey until the end of the month, and it's very depressing. Very.
All right. So you're looking for a date for the Valentine's Day show.
you've got a lot of
And
spare time on your hands. Is what you're saying?
You got a lot of spare time for the lucky lady that decides to step into your life, or man. No judgment here. It's 2019. What about you, Corey? Any final thoughts on your side
Final
of the table?
thoughts. So this coming on the show caused me to do some research. So I want to leave you with some stats, right?
some nuggets.
Some nuggets.
Some stats like it's the first time I use one at Michigan State in a long time.
No, boring economic development stats. So in the last 4 years, we've facilitated over $130 million worth of investment, over 700 jobs. We have an EPA grant, $500,000. We've done phase 1, phase 2 assessments, over 20 properties in the county, leveraged $126,000 in cleanup dollars, but leveraged 1.25 in private investment. In other words, we take care of the environmental side of things, the private sector is able to invest. And we've already mentioned the grant number, over $1 million. In 2017, we were a top 50 micropolitan. Micropolitans are cities between the population of 10,000 and 50,000. So we were ranked somewhere in the 30s.
We're number 30.
Yeah,
we're number 30.
Top 50. And finally,
Hey, as long as we beat Spiceland, that's what's important.
Spiceland's
Spiceland's not in 10,000.
Spiceland's a big reason we're in that ranking. Spiceland's home to our largest
Private employer.
Don't inflate
Draper.
Darren's head anymore.
Draper.
Okay, we don't need Darren's ego to be any bigger.
A lot of good,
But he won't let chicken coops.
Yep.
a lot of good things going on in Spiceland.
Listen, man, a law is only as good as what it is enforced. Darren can come take my chickens anytime.
You live in Spiceland now?
I live outside of the town limits.
At the next meeting, they're going to talk about annexation just to screw with you. They've done some big land grabs, man. Don't think you're immune.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me on.
Thank
So,
you for coming, Corey.
We did tease it. Can you explain? You were in the news recently. Top 40 under 40. You're a big time celebrity.
Big
now.
deal.
Did you
Yeah.
bring a plaque? I mean, where's the hardware?
Oh, it's
We
at the
advertise
office.
your appearance with you holding a trophy.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that was a great event, and I appreciate the honor. DCI, a consulting firm out of New York, sponsors the award, but they have an independent panel that judges the submittals, and I think over 200 people applied from across the country, and including Canada, and they pick 40, and they do it every other year.
This was your last chance.
This is my last chance, and maybe that's why I got it, because I had to tell them my age, and so they thought this poor SOB is
Now or never.
not going to be qualified in a couple years. But
50 under 50, I guess. I don't
yeah,
know.
but it was a nice award.
Cool. My final thoughts. Before you mentioned putting the State of the Union address into the show tonight, I was going to talk about the State of the Union as my final thoughts.
I just hosed you.
Yep. But no, I guess I don't have anything other than the District 6 Libertarian Party Convention is being held on March the 2nd at 4 p.m. at Montgomery Steakhouse. We have a private room. It is open to the public. Anyone can come. However, you do have to be a member to vote on official business, and we will be selecting our candidates for the citywide races. We have a few candidates that we've been in contact with, so be looking for news after March the 2nd, and if you want to experience it yourself, then you can hop on Facebook or Eventbrite, search District 6 Libertarian Party Convention. It's $22 a ticket. That pays for us to get the room, and it also pays for all of our food and drinks. So we always have a good time. Invitation to anyone, and if you pay $25, you get to vote.
Ooh, real quick on city elections.
Yeah.
Aaron, I'm
Oh,
picking
yeah, breaking
Dickin,
news.
has announced he is seeking re-election.
I was so disappointed because he waited so long to announce. I was like, Aaron's going to pull one on us. He's going to run for mayor.
I
Nope.
talked to him at the city council, and I'm like, man, you got till Friday.
And
he
then
goes, he goes, if it was up to me, I'd wait till Friday at 11 o'clock and I'd go in the file. He goes, but I know my luck. Something would happen. The system would be down and I couldn't file.
You'd have a flat tire or something.
Hey, Dakota. You know my grandparents, right?
I do.
We had one of my cousins stay over one night this week.
Mm-hmm.
She's like 11, and she's got a girlfriend.
What?
Yeah, she's got a girlfriend at 11.
I'm sure.
How do you think my grandma's reaction was when she found
Your
out?
grandma or your grandpa?
My grandpa doesn't know anything.
Your grandma cried.
No, she was just like, okay.
Did she take the Bible out?
She
and
handled
thumb
it
Really?
pretty good. Yeah, yeah. She just it was
Obviously,
it
Good
was
for her.
funny though.
She's
you come
moved
from a
to,
very
she's
tolerant
moved to
and
the new
accepting
century.
family.
Yeah, yeah.
If
you know?
if you ever make any changes in your life, they'll be very,
Not
very
saying-
accepting.
I'm not saying she supports it, but she didn't say, "Hey, you know what? You're gonna burn." So improvement.
I thought she was going to cry, and I thought your grandpa would have done the scolding.
My grandpa, he's more like an 11-year-old now, so he eats and he sleeps. That's about it.
That was really sad.
Wow. All
That
right.
really,
You know, let's end the show on that, guys.
you had my heart in your hands and you squeezed really hard.
Just-
You crushed it.
All right. Well, this has been fun. I thank Corey Murphy for joining us. He slid in top 40 under 40 just barely, and he got in on episode 99 before the big 100. So we appreciate that very much. Corey is a Patreon member. We appreciate that as well. It's
Pay to play.
fantastic. It's you guys are the reason why we get to do this. You know, Dakota and I and the rest of the team here. We show up, we put the work in, but it's a hobby that pays for itself. So everything we make off of that, we reinvest back into the show.
Last month was the most money we've ever made on this show.
We didn't make money.
We
$1
had money
million
left over
dollars.
from after the bills.
We
Say
have
that
re-
to your new car.
And it was the
have-
first time
we have
ever.
retained earnings. Nobody brought anything
It was
home.
crazy.
$1
I put the
million
numbers in the spreadsheet.
Dakota is.
I keep track of the budget on my spreadsheet, and we came out ahead. We had money left over after
Declare
the
a
bills.
dividend.
And I was like,
Wait, we're gonna get Dakota QuickBooks at some point because he's like, "This is cash we made." I'm like, "No, that's money you carried over from the month before."
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna work on
there's
terminology.
money left over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, it's been fun. We thank everybody very much for that.
I think we should pimp Chris out on a date.
Ain't nobody buying this,
If
bro.
someone
To Grace
someone
Senior.
pays
Or Justin Kelly.
$200, they can take Chris out on a date.
$200.
And
I don't even think I'm worth that much.
and he'll do anything you
Know
want
your
him to.
worth.
He'll do anything you want him to.
We're crossing into prostitution now, and it's after 8, so I think it's probably okay on cable. I don't know, but we appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. If you do enjoy the show, share it with your friends. Rate it on iTunes. We don't talk about that very much. We are on iTunes. 5 stars in there goes a long way, and a little bit of a review. The We Are Libertarians show is top 50 now, I think, in the news and government side.
I think we're like, I think it's 23 or something.
Are they?
It's
Yeah,
high.
it's been climbing up significantly. I don't think we're rated on there, but we don't have quite the wide.
Yeah, but Chris
Worth that
takes
they do.
care of all. Not this Chris. Chris Spangle takes care of all of the iTunes side and all that.
Are you blaming him for your low rating?
No, what I'm saying is I just don't pay attention to it because I don't know how to access it. He's never taught me how to access that information. So
The chat is starting to get excited about this idea.
$200 for your. This is a date, Brantley.
Brant's wondering if for $200 you'll do anything because
I'll take you
he's
to
got
that
a car he
wrestling.
wants clean.
I'll take you to wrestling.
All right.
all right, thank you all for listening. We will see you next week.
Until next time.